You're listening to episode 4 of the Project Success podcast, the podcast which interviews extraordinary people on extraordinary paths about how they've reached or plan to reach the success they strive for. On this beautiful episode, we speak to the wonderful Brónagh Lyons, power and connection specialist, soon to be published author, and founder of the Epic Hearts Club, the online movement which helps empaths worldwide to harness their inner brilliance and to create the life they know they are here to live. This wonderful woman has a genuine passion for helping others succeed. So if you're looking for a little inspiration, need somewhere to start in living those dreams, this is it. This episode is for you. Want to find out more about the Project Success podcast? Visit www.yourprojectsuccess.com. You're listening to episode 4 of the Project Success podcast with me, Louisa, and today's special guest, Brónagh Lyons. Hi, Brónagh.
Hi, Jay. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. This is awesome. This is my first ever podcast, so I'm really excited.
Is it really? That makes me really excited too, and I'm so happy to have you here today. I'll let you into a little secret. I've been following you and your progress for a few months, probably about 3 months now, maybe. So longer than you thought I'd known about you.
And you're stalking me.
I was stalking you for a little while, but you're the one who agreed to the podcast, so here you are. I've agreed to something for this episode of Project Success, episode 4 of the Project Success podcast. I have agreed for Brónagh to take the reins on this. Brónagh is her own expert, and she is an expert in what she does, and I just know that she knows exactly what she's doing and doesn't need any guidance here. So I have no idea what is going to happen today. I don't know. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Brónagh?
Yeah, sure. So from your introduction, I'm sure everyone knows by now, I'm a power and connection specialist. I work with empaths, people that are highly intuitive, people that are sensitive to energies. They might be sensitive to other people. They might be sensitive to surroundings, to environments. There's lots of different forms of it. But people that are just, more intuitive than others. And I work with them to really connect into their inner brilliance and what it is that makes them so powerful, because that is such a talent. It's such a power. It's a superpower, I call it. It's real magical to be able to have that intuition and that you can't explain. And a lot of people would pay a lot of money to be able to have that skill. But what can happen is if we don't know how to harness it, if we don't know how to channel it and how to protect it, it can actually become a huge vulnerability. It can be, it can cause a lot of toxic relationships, chronic people pleasing, trying to make ourselves smaller, insecurities, low self-esteem, all this sort of stuff. So it's really helping people to realize how incredible they are and what it is that they can bring to the world, show them the tools that they can implement to really protect themselves and how to actually use their power to create incredible things in the world, so that they can really, because generally people that are highly intuitive, they also have big visions and they have big goals as well. So it's how they can learn to actually realize that they can realize their vision and they can do all the things that it is that they want to do. So that's what I do, and that's who I help, and that's it's amazing. It's really
it's really interesting. And actually through most of that I was nodding. I realised halfway through what you were saying that with empathy comes pain, because you will forego everything you need and you'll put everyone else in front of you to try and make everyone else happy, or you'll take on someone else's pain. I mean, I would probably say that I'm an empath, and I think of it as more of a painful thing.
If we don't know how to protect ourselves and we don't know how to channel the power that we have, we can become chronic people pleasers. We can be the doormats. We can be taken for granted. We can have really low self-esteem and stuff, because we can't change who we are. We just are, and we feel misunderstood by other people, so we feel like it's a negative thing. So I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I wanted to start by saying your mission is so different from anyone else I've had on this show before. So it's the Project Success podcast. I interview people who are taking extraordinary paths to live extraordinary lives. Episode 1, I had the chief executive of Birmingham Children's Hospital, Sarah J. Marsh. So she became chief executive of Birmingham Children's Hospital at age 32. which I think is just extraordinary. And that amount of
Yeah.
pressure is crazy. After that, in episode 2, we had Alex Manners, who's actually an autism champion and motivational speaker, and he wants to be a TV presenter. So he came on and spoke about what he wants to do and how he's got this plan and how he puts it in motion about how he's going to become a TV presenter, and he knows he's going to do it, and it's so inspirational. And on the last episode, I had Kishan Badalia, he's a doctor, but at the same time as qualifying to be a doctor, he actually became an internationally known DJ, and runs his own record label. You know, he's headlined music festivals and things like that, but he actually just works down the road in A&E. And I just think everyone's journeys here are fantastic, but yours is different in a way that everyone I've spoken to before, their missions are it's what they want out of life. Yours has a second element. Your mission is to help people, but obviously this is how you earn your living, and by all accounts you live a fantastic life. Can you just tell our listeners a little bit about how it is that you help people, like the bricks and mortar of it, how this is a job for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off doing like one-on-one coaching with people, and what I called it, I was a bit sneaky, I called it confidence coaching. And I called it that on purpose because I was like, like what can I call this that like people will resonate with it and they'll want to get it? So I called it confidence coaching, and I did like 12-week programs with people. But the actual program itself, like I never once mentioned like these are top tips to become confident, you know. It was all about like, who are you? Like, who are you actually? Like, if you could like strip away all of the labels, all the expectations, absolutely everything that you have thrown on you from a young age, you could strip all that away. Like, who are you? Like, what do you stand for? What's important to you? What are you interested in? What do you like? What do you not like? You know, what were your dreams when you were a child? What are all these things that you've always wanted to do? Like, who are you? And most people actually don't know, because we've been taken off course from a very young age, and we've been off course most of our lives. So when it comes to it, like usually there's a point in people's lives where they're like, how the hell did I end up here? Like, oh my God.
I get that.
You know?
I get it.
Yeah. So it's really figured that out. Like once you can actually, first of all, find out who you are, you're instantly more confident, because if you're constantly living a life that's not authentic to you, obviously you're not going to feel confident in it, because you're living a lie basically. You know, you're not consciously living a lie, but you are living a lie. Like you're not doing stuff that's genuine to you. You're trying to be a certain way, you're acting a certain way, you have a mask on, like, you know, you're showing up, like you're doing the best you can, you're not doing anything wrong, but you're not going to feel confident in what it is that you're doing, because you're not doing what it is that you naturally do. So that's the first part of it. Like another part of what I did was I helped people, like it was all action orientated. I wanted to make sure that every single week on week, there was an action, at least one action that the person was doing, so that by the end of the 12 weeks they had achieved so much, they had tangible results that they had. So a lot of them started off kind of like at the very beginning with kind of like daily habits. What are the daily habits that you know, they have and stuff? But it was a sense of achievement that you get, and you get the sense of achievement from taking action. You don't get it from things just happening for you or things just being handed for you. It's when you overcome that fear, or you overcome a difficulty, or you overcome an obstacle, that's where the achievement comes from. The achievement comes from championing an issue that you had, you know. So a lot of what I did as well was like help people just to consistently take action, stay accountable to themselves, check in with themselves. How are they feeling? What was important to them now? Once they've overcome something, it was like, okay, what next? Like, you know, what do you want to work on now? From that, by the end of the 12 weeks, they felt pretty confident, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was doing that. And then I was like, okay, well, how can I help even more people? And how can I, like, I know my own experience, I know my own knowledge, but I also know how limited that is. Like, as a person, we can only ever have a limited amount of knowledge and experience. And so I was like, how can I help more people and help them in a bigger way? So I've created an online platform specifically for empaths, but like anyone can join it if they want to. Like, you know,
amazing.
We're not excluding anybody, but it's myself and 4 other coaches, and basically it's an online club. So you join the club, it's only €20 or the equivalent in whatever currency you're in per month. So for €20 per month, you get access to 5 different coaches. Each coach does 1 session per month, and then they have like a Q&A as well, so they can answer questions. And the whole idea was, how could I create a space that was unlimited, that had like extremely high value, trusted coaches? They're all in like completely different areas as well. Like I've got a money mindset coach, I've got a health and fitness coach, I've got a trauma coach. I've got like a yoga, breathing, mindfulness coach, and then there's myself that does a lot on like mindset, lots of random different stuff that I
You cover so many bases. So what you're talking about now is your Epic Hearts Club.
Yeah.
And I was reading a little bit about this before the show tonight, actually. I know that you offer yoga, breathing, meditation, but as well as that kind of work on the self, you do have experts that help with trauma work and boundary work, because empaths do struggle with boundaries, and a lot of that is the boundary of saying no or putting themselves first or deciding on a path that's best for them, even if it might hurt other people. There are lots of people out there who would do what's best for them regardless. But I know as empaths, it's really difficult to do something you know is best for you when it might have a negative effect on someone else. Mm-hmm. So you do a lot of boundary work, you do a lot of communication work, and then health and fitness on top of that. You cover so many bases in this group.
We don't work in silos. It's not like we're not machines, we're not robots. So it's like if you have all the different areas of your life, so maybe you have like your health, you might have your professional life, you could have your family life, your friendship, your connection with yourself, your social life, your hobbies, your interests, your whatever it is. You have all these different areas, and like if there's an issue in one area, it's going to affect all of the other ones. And my real goal was to help people holistically. If you can like start improving your health, start working through some of the trauma that you're going through, start fixing your relationship with money and stuff like that, which is a huge sore point, and it's something that most don't want to talk about. All of this just combines to help you have the most epic life, and that's why I've called it Epic Hearts Club, because obviously we have epic hearts as empaths, but it's about creating your most epic life, which is the most important thing. And that's really the cornerstone of everything I do, is how can you create your best life by having like healthy boundaries, by being the most healthy version of yourself. I actually I started off with a degree in psychology, and then I went into health and fitness myself because I was really fascinated with how diet and exercise could impact your mental health. So that was actually where I started off my career journey. So that's why for me it was so important to have someone who was into health and fitness, or someone there to really combat that kind of area, because if you can become the healthiest version of yourself, that's going to eradicate so many of the issues that you have already anyway. I used to be very upset. I was a sad little girl. But I was so sad. But I realized after, like later on in life, that I actually had low blood pressure, and I was like deficient in vitamin D. And the two of them can have huge impacts on your emotions.
They can. But you don't realize how much something so small in terms of health can have such a huge impact on your mind.
Massive. Yeah. And like, if you don't have that awareness, you start to blame yourself, because you start thinking like, oh, it must be this relationship I'm in, or it must be that job, or like, why am I such a bad person, or whatever. And you start like attributing to all this stuff that you have awareness of, but it's really none of that. Like, you could fix all of those things and you'd still have it because you're deficient in vitamin D. And actually, vast majority of women particularly, but also men, are deficient in vitamin D. Like, you have to be in like specific regions to be getting enough vitamin D from the sun. So like, I would nearly guarantee that like 99.99% of your listeners are probably vitamin D deficient. So they should
exactly
go to and get a blood test. Do you know what I mean? But like, if you have this awareness, then you really have enough power and strength within yourself to combat the stuff that actually is an issue. That's why I was super intentional about making sure that so many different bases were covered, so the members are not just listening to like one coach or whatever. I also wanted to make sure that it was affordable as possible, like €20. Like, I don't know what it's like where you are, but in Ireland, €50 is the average for any coach per hour. So whether that's personal trainer, or it's a life coach, or it's whatever.
The way I see it, and you'll be so aware of this, by and large, people are not willing to spend money on themselves in terms of investing in themselves and self-improvement. And £20 a month, compare it to this. You pay £10 a month for your Netflix account, however much for your Amazon Prime, £80 a year, I think it is for your Amazon Prime, or you have a takeaway once a week. You're already spending so much more than that on yourself. And yes, you get things from it. Yes, it's good for your mindset sometimes to just sit and watch something on Netflix. But people have this mental block when it comes to spending money on investing in themselves. And I think you just need to put that in perspective, not necessarily in comparison to other coaches. £20 a month, it's less than your average takeaway. You need to do it, guys.
It's like a £5 a week. And the thing is, like, the other coaches, that's per hour that you're paying, or per session for another coach. Never mind, like, this is per month.
For a month.
And how can I make this as simple as possible, as cheap as possible, and like as easy as possible for people to get the help that's really, really going to help them, and also make it as high value. I'm all about value. So,
because that was it. I was just going to say, when you're paying this £50 a month or whatever per hour for a coach, you're getting one coach. With the Epic Hearts Club, you're getting, it's not just you, you're getting 5 coaches for that for that £20 a month. And I just think, I don't know what your terms and conditions are, but just try it. Just give it a go. Sign up for a month, pay £20, put it out there, and just see what value you get from it. See if it's for you.
Yeah, and there's no contract or anything, and I wanted to make that kind of way, and I wanted to make it like a buffet. Like, even if you sign up for €20 a month and you only want to listen to one of the coaches, you're still winning. Like, you're still like doing like amazing. Even if, let's just say, you just wanted to go on and listen to the trauma coach and you just wanted to work through your trauma, ignore all of the other ones. The videos will still be there. You can always go back and watch them. You don't have to be like, oh, well, if I'm going to sign up for that, oh my God, there's going to be 5 coaches. Like, I'll never have time to listen to all of them. Like, as long as you're a member, you have access to all of the training. So
take what you need.
Exactly. It's like a buffet. Take what you want, leave what you don't want. It's all good.
I love it.
€20, it's fine. Yeah.
The Epic Hearts Buffet. I absolutely love it. Maybe you should consider renaming.
Trademarking that.
Talking about trademarking, I read something on your Facebook earlier and I've just noticed it now. This is a mindset game that I know you're playing. Your name here, where I've got you popping up online, isn't Brónagh Lyons. It's Brónagh Millionaire.
Yes.
So talking about naming things, go on, please tell me, what is that all about?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like an environmental cue. I should probably actually do a training on this. I have like a free Facebook group that I do trainings on every week, so I should probably actually do a training on this. But it's an environmental cue. So basically,
you're talking about the secret and attracting, aren't you? Putting it out there in the world, what you want.
Exactly. I'm declaring it. I am Brónagh Lyons millionaire.
For any of our listeners out there who aren't aware of this at the moment, I know that me and Brónagh are both quite aware of this and we've looked into this a lot. Put what you want out there in the world. Become accountable for it. If you've got a mission or a goal or something, tell everyone you can think about it, because that is the only way it will come to you. The universe is cleverer than a lot of people give it credit for. I just sound like I'm going on some woo-woo rant now.
The universe will provide, baby.
It will.
It's like that. You hear a lot of people and trainers and stuff saying like, oh, put your affirmations up beside your mirror where you brush your teeth or something like that. It's just cues that you can see constantly, because we're getting bombarded by information. Like, when we are driving down the road, there's signs, and when you're watching telly, there's like, even without you knowing, even without going onto the ads, there's product placements everywhere, and we're getting programmed constantly by people that have an agenda. Whether it's like I remember one time, it's really funny actually, this wasn't even intentional, but I was flicking through the telly and like years ago, and there was some like a crime show or something on, and this guy was talking about a gun which is called a Magnum gun, and I just got this intense craving for a Magnum ice cream. That was just like unintentional advertising, but that's how powerful it is. So like, if you
it really does work. I've got an example for the listeners here today, the listeners at Project Success. I couldn't believe it when this happened, and this has got to do with Brónagh being here tonight. So I was getting a little bit stressed in my journey here with Project Success. I had the season lined up. I've got the season lined up till Christmas. I launched on the 9th of September, but not necessarily with every episode filled with guests. So I didn't know who was going to be on the show. I knew who or what the kinds of people I wanted to be on the show. And a couple of weeks ago, I was getting a little bit stressed because I knew episode 4 was coming up and no one was available. That evening, I'd been particularly down all day, and I'd sent out loads of emails trying to promote it. And that evening, I got in bed, defeated. I logged onto Facebook like most people do and just started endlessly scrolling. And then I scrolled past a post of Brónagh's to say that she's around, and if anyone wants her to appear as a guest expert while she's here in the UK for a little while, please get in touch. And I couldn't believe it. For one, I couldn't think of anyone better tonight. And your approach is so different from anyone we've had before. But not only that, the universe heard what I wanted and put you right in my way. Yeah. Exactly when I was about to give up. And I know you already know about this. I told you about it as soon as you popped up.
Yeah, and it's really amazing, like how we think all these things just happen coincidentally and stuff like that, but they really don't. There could be like so many inconsequential little things that happen, but they all lead towards things happening as they're meant to. And I really do believe that. For instance, I was in school and I was learning the song Midnight. Or Memory. No, it's called Memory, sorry.
Memory, yeah.
From Cats. For years, that's the only thing I knew about Cats was that song. And I was like, oh, I want to see Cats. I want to see Cats. I want to see Cats. I moved to China and then Cats came to China. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? So I went to go see Cats. And then my friend messaged me, she's American, and she was like, hey, Brónagh, I just want to tell you like that I've seen Cats before. Now, my friend, I met her because we both worked on a private island at different times, but because she was over, this is like a real convoluted story, but stick with me here.
No, I'm with you.
Times, we got in contact years ago. She's an amazing person. She's big into law of attraction, Tony Robbins, all that sort of stuff. We have great chats with each other. And she was like, oh my God, I just want to tell you this story, because she came to Ireland for a holiday, for like a little working holiday, planned to go home. And what she was doing was she actually had her flight and everything booked to go home on this Saturday, right? And then the tickets for Cats came up in Dublin, which is where she was. So she got the tickets for Cats. She went to go see Cats, and that night she went to this bar. And while she was at this bar, she locked eyes with this guy that worked in the bar, and they ended up falling in love, got married shortly after, 2 kids later, absolutely mad about each other. So she was telling me this story, and I was like, that's so cool. And I was like, why were you so interested in seeing Cats? And she said, well, when I was a little girl, my granddad taught me Cats. And I was like, whoa, okay. So actually, if you go back as far as your granddad, when he was young and he got into Cats, he then allowed you to become, like when you were a little girl, learn about the songs, and that allowed you to be in the place where you seen Cats coming up. So you went there, and then you met your partner, your husband, and then you have 2 kids and stuff. So it wasn't even about Cats. It was like from before she was even born. This was all aligning.
Without knowing it, her granddad put all the steps in place that she needed to have her own 2 beautiful children.
Yes.
It's
and it
amazing.
Probably even stems before then. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I have my own stories like that. I don't know whether to get into them or just because I think we could get onto a whole show about the law of attraction. And actually, maybe that's something for the future. Let's talk about that after we finish recording, because I'm really getting into this. I'm all in. All right. So you've mentioned a few things here which I wanted to get into. This might be putting you on the spot here. What is your vision of success, and do you see yourself as successful? We're on the Project Success podcast. I've got to ask it.
Mm-hmm. I feel that my vision for success is to be free to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and where you want. And everyone has something different that they want to do. Some people, it's being at home with their family. For some people, it could be acting on Broadway. For some people, it could be, running like high-flying companies. I feel success is when you are truly content and fulfilled with what it is that you're doing, and you're doing it because you want to, how you want to, when you want to, where you want to, and with who you want to. And that's it. I feel like success is a feeling. It's not, and I'm an empath, so I'm all about the feels. It's a feeling that you have when you know that you are on the right pathway. And I don't think that success is a destination. Like, you can feel fulfilled when your whole world is falling down around you. It's not a destination. It's not something that you work towards. It's something that you are. So it's a way of being, I feel, a success. And like, would I consider myself successful? I would. I genuinely feel now, and I wouldn't have if I was to compare myself to when I was younger and stuff like that. Like, I was always trying to be someone for someone else. I was trying to do things that I thought I was meant to be doing. I was living a life that just wasn't for me, and like, that's not my vision of success.
You've managed to build your success on helping people and being there for other people, even when you say that is maybe what made you unhappy when you were younger.
Yeah, but I'm doing it on my own terms, and I'm doing it from a place of my own self being protected and connected to myself. I really feel like the old cliche of like, make sure to put on your oxygen mask first. Like, that's so thrown around, and it's so like eye roll, but it's so true. You need to feel fulfilled within yourself before you can really help others. Like, I've been trying to help people my whole life, and it wasn't helping them and it wasn't helping me. Whereas now, like, I focus on myself. I've done what I needed to do. I've done the work for myself. I'll always have more work to do because I'm a growing being, you know, so I'm always changing and growing and learning more about myself. But I'm helping people from a place of love as opposed to a place of fear of like, oh, well, what if they don't like me, or what if they don't accept me, or what if, you know, I get something wrong and like, you know, they're angry at me. Because that would have been the fears I had before, and that's why I was helping people. I wanted them to like me, whereas now it's the case of I'm helping because I love you and I want you to be the best version of who you are.
And you can. And I absolutely love this. And I think something's clicked in me recently where, and I know you'll have had this moment as well, because I think we seem to be quite similar. I realised that I could have more. And I think that it's one of the reasons that I set up this podcast, the Project Success podcast. A lot of this is about finding fulfillment in your careers and trying to inspire people who are just wasting their life away in ways that they feel they should, and not in the ways that is going to make them happy. So I've said it before in a previous episode. Everyone does this. You go to school, you go to college or university, and you train what you want to do, and your choices are to go into this 9-to-5 job, or this 9-to-5 job, or this 9-to-5 job. And for some people that's great. Kishan Badalia, who I met last week, he wants to be a doctor. He's found massive fulfillment and success with being an international DJ on the side, but his mission in life is to be a doctor, and for all intents and purposes, that's a 9-to-5 job. For some people, that's fine and that's great, but most people do that because they think that's the only option. And I've had a massive awakening, I suppose, recently where that's not the only option. And now I'm surrounded by, since starting this podcast and the people that I've met along the journey and my own personal journey, I've met so many people who are making their own success, their own happiness, and it's not necessarily based on money. It's not necessarily based on becoming successful in their 9-to-5. It is finding the happiness in themselves. And for some of our listeners who are more interested in the career side, this might sound a bit out there, and we might be they might think we're just going completely soft. It's not just trying to help people get a better job, it's trying to help people become who they can be.
Yeah, and you know, like, for people that are listening to this for a career point and that's their goal, this is actually so true for them. I could talk about this again on a whole other podcast for the whole hour, but if you look back to the agrarian age before the industrial age, everyone had a trade. So everyone was self-employed. You know, you were a farmer, you were a goldsmith, you were a cobbler, you were whatever. That's great. That had its place. And that has now allowed room for the technology age, like the data age, to come through, which is where we are now. And the thing is, our parents and our grandparents, which like brought us up, they're training us on the rule book of the industrial age, but it's no longer the industrial age. We now have the resources and the power available to us to actually think about, right, what is it that I want to do? I no longer have to be a farmer. I no longer have to be a factory worker. And chances are, like, most of the job security and stuff that was available during the industrial age no longer exists. We're now in a completely different age where, you know, you can actually look into yourself and be like, okay, well, who am I actually? What is it that I want to do? Like, where do I want to go? What's interesting to me? Who do I want to help? If you can really go from that mindset of like, what do I want to do, to who do I want to help, your literal whole world is your oyster, because there are self-made millionaires that are still in school. It's a completely different mindset, and we are being trained and programmed from a young age by people who are doing their best. They're giving you the knowledge that they feel is the right knowledge, but it's limited knowledge and it's old knowledge, because it doesn't actually fit into the world that we're in anymore. And if you are trying to force yourself to do that whole thing of go to school, get good grades, get married, have kids, have your white picket fence, retire, go on cruises, there's nothing to say you can't have that anymore, but it's not as available as it was back then. Like, that's just not the way the world is anymore. What is your mission? Like, what is it that you want to do? And this is the first time I really feel that the masses can go online and they can make their own, they can make your own way, and they can do what it is that's right for them. And I don't really feel that in the past people had those choices, and now we do.
I don't think I've said it on this podcast before, but I've said it to quite a few people that I speak to. We need to stop asking children what they want to be when they grow up and start asking them what they want to do when they grow up. Do you think people coming to the Epic Hearts Club can find that level of fulfillment?
That's kind of the goal of Epic Hearts Club, is for, who knows, you might get to meet other members and, make relationships and friendships and stuff with them as well, and just to surround yourself with positive energy and people that want to grow and want to learn. And
as well as it being a place that you can go to get mentorship, it's a community as well.
It is, yeah. My goal with it is that it becomes a place that like people get to know each other and they're like, wow, that was really cool training. Like, what did other people think of it? There's already people that are members that are from all around the world. So, it's really just about like creating this into a movement where it's so affordable for people to get really high value trainings and to catapult their life in a more positive direction while meeting other people and expanding their network.
Yeah.
So.
And just to remind people again, that's €20 a month. Is it a club that's live now?
I do have it live, but I haven't fully released it out yet. So I have it for a small group of people. But if you want to join, you just let me know and I'll get you into the club.
We'll put all the information about that in the show notes as well and on my website. That's www.yourprojectsuccess.com. I don't know whether this is allowed to go live yet, but not only have you been asked whether you would help write a book recently, but you've made the decision that now is your time and you're preparing to write a book.
I am, and it's really exciting. The first book that you mentioned there, the book collab, I'm actually just finalizing my chapter for that today. So that's pretty much done, which is exciting. But also, yeah, I'm gonna write my own book. It's gonna be a small guide more than anything else. Something that's super simple. I'm all about keeping everything really simple, and it's really just a lot of what we spoke about today, but like more as well, and just really simple ways to just connect into yourself and just accept yourself and love yourself. Yeah, I am in the process of writing that, which is very exciting.
And why now?
It's something that I've always wanted to do, but yeah, I think it's been something that's been on my mind, but it wasn't something that I was emotionally connected to up to now. I was kind of like, I'm feeling into it. Like, I do want to write it. I wouldn't want to write it just for the sake of writing it. I wanted to write it when, I actually had something to share. And I feel now with Epic Hearts Club, with the Facebook group, with the book collab that I have and everything else, it's like, no, I now have the information the way I want it to be, and like I know how to do it. Like, I can see it, I can feel it. So yeah, that's why now I'm just kind of like, when this I was asked to collab on a book, it was just kind of like, this is just a sign for me to say like, now's the time.
Yeah, if you're ready to collaborate on a book, you're ready to do your own.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear updates on that, and we definitely will. And especially when it's nearer the time of coming out, we'll definitely get you back. Obviously, you're from Ireland. I'm sure quite a lot of people can get that from your accent. But you live in China. You live such a jet-setting life. You speak around the world. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about, if they start to connect with themselves and realise their true worth, what kind of lifestyle you can live?
I actually read a status that I put up a few years ago recently on Facebook. I was basically just saying like, oh my God, I've got like so many days in work and I've no money and I hate my life. One of those statuses,
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, because that was a huge shock for me to read that, because I've been so disconnected to that way of thinking for so long now. I was so stuck in the rat race. It was like I was working, I was sleeping, I was unhappy, I was like in friendships and relationships and stuff that weren't nice for me and stuff like that, and I was just so closed off to so much. I was like quite sarcastic, and I was just a completely different person to who I am now. And like now I travel the world, like I live on my terms. Feel into yourself, connect with yourself, like find out what it is that you want and find a way to do it, and you really can create that life of freedom. Like, and it's really about like chasing freedom, chase what it is that you want. Like, as a child, we all had childhood dreams. My dream was to save the Amazon. I was going to become a famous singer and songwriter and actress. And I was going to use all my yes, and I was going to use thanks for adding that in. And I was going to use my my fame and fortune to buy out the Amazon. And I actually forgot about that for years. I'd say it was just kind of like, oh, that's never going to happen. That's so ridiculous. Like blah 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 blah. I learned all of this stuff that it's just not possible. And a couple of years ago, I remembered that. And that was huge for me. And I was like, oh my God, like, and now knowing what I know and having the awareness that I have, I'm like, there is no reason why I can't work with a foundation or create a foundation or something that works towards conservation of the Amazon. There's no reason why that's so ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
It's not anymore.
It's not. And that's the thing. It's like anything that you really wanted to do as a child is you in your most perfect sense. So like that is something that's important to you. You know, maybe when you grow up you don't want to do it anymore, but it's like that belief that you had as a child, that's what you need to have now.
The thing that I always wanted to do was to be an author, and that's still with me.
Just on the book, I always think of a book and I'm like, look, even if you write a book and you never even get it published, once you have a book, you have a book. That can be in your family for generations. And I think books are so interesting because imagine your great-great-great-granddaughter reads that book and they get a glimpse into your mind and like who you are and stuff. And that's something that can never be taken away from a family. So I think books are beautiful things. Do it.
You have brought me so perfectly onto the very last question I was going to ask you tonight, actually, because I know you're flying back to China tomorrow and I'm sure you've got a lot to do. The last question I was going to ask you, and again, this might be putting you on the spot. Are there any books or, let's say books, I was going to say, or teachings, but let's say books that you have read during your journey that have left an impact on you? So big that you feel like it has been one of the stepping stones towards this point and this mindset you're in at the moment?
So many. I'm going to name one, right? And it's kind of on topic, but it's kind of off topic.
Okay.
But this book transformed my life and the author transformed my life. And I've read numerous of his books going after that. And I'm so excited. This day next week, I'm going to be in Singapore listening to this man speak. And this is like a lifelong, like, oh my God, like I cannot believe this guy is like my hero. I love him. His name is Robert Kiyosaki and the book is Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's all about like financial education and stuff. And the reason why it left such a huge impact in my life is because I had such a negative relationship with money and it really impacted my whole life. And as I said, how you do anything is how you do everything. We don't work in silos. Like if you have such a negative thing in your life, be sure that it's going to impact other parts of your life as well. And the book is so simple. It's a real story. You think financial education, you think it's all numbers and figures. It's a story of him when he was a child, and it's like a novel, and it's so easy to read, and it just absolutely blew my mind, like, and just opened my eyes up to so many different opportunities and so many different, it was like a whole new world. Yeah, he's just absolutely transformed my life so much. So I know it's kind of on topic, kind of not on topic, but
no, it is. It's perfectly on topic.
So that's it. Have you read
so
it?
That's I haven't, but that's going on. That is going on my list tonight. I'm gonna go on Amazon tonight. I'm gonna buy that book, and the next time I speak to you, I will have read that book, and that is me putting that accountability out there to the universe. I'm going to have read that. So
he also has a board game as well, which is like incredible, and he has like a lot of stuff. But anyways, there's so much. Just go look up Robert Kiyosaki. He's fab.
I will do, and a little bit about me. I do love board games as well, so that's absolutely
perfect.
Perfect.
Cash flow 101.
So, Brónagh, I'm going to bring this to a close now. We've been talking to Brónagh Lyons. She's a power and connection specialist. She specialises in working with empaths, and she's the founder of the Epic Hearts Club. How can people reach you if they need to? Because I know for a fact that after people have listened to this interview, someone's going to want to talk to you. How can they do that?
You can just like find me on Facebook either directly, or you can join my free Facebook page. It's called Empaths Connect, Protect, Inspire. So if you find it hard to spell my name, just go to Empaths Connect, Protect, Inspire and you'll find me there. Or on Instagram, I am Brónagh Lyons. It's my handle. Email me. It's just Brónagh@brónaghlyons.com.
That's amazing. And I'm definitely going to be getting in touch with you in the near future. All right, Brónagh, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know you've had so much to do.
Oh, you're amazing. And I absolutely love what you're doing. I love this platform that you've created. And I just think that, like, you know, even the people that you've interviewed so far are just so different. And like the information and the insight that you're bringing to your viewers is just exceptional. So I just want to say thank you so much for what it is that you're doing, because it really is changing the world. And there'll be people that are listening that might never get in contact with you, but just from what you're doing, you're literally impacting people, and it's just a butterfly effect. So I just want to say thank you so much as well for inviting me to be part of your platform.
Beautiful words from a beautiful person. Put your oxygen mask on before you help others. Invest in yourself and see brilliant things happen. If you want to find out more about Brónagh Lyons and her Epic Hearts Club, You can find her on Facebook at Brónagh Lyons or on her free Facebook group, Empaths Connect. If you want to find out more information about the Project Success podcast, visit www.yourprojectsuccess.com. That was episode 4 of the Project Success podcast with me, Louisa, and today's wonderful guest, Brónagh Lyons. This is your project, your passion, your platform. This is Project Success.